like we've had a lot of these. I believe at least 7 or 8 times President Trump at moments has said we are close to reaching a peace deal, and then there's been some bump along the way. But this feels like a really unique moment where if there is retaliation, this attack from Iran on Israel is the first time since that really crucial began. And we don't see that hold here. This could be a re-escalation, and that's something that this White House official told me President Trump does not want to see. I heard from multiple White House officials over just the past few minutes to give it a moment, let the president intervene, let him speak with Netanyahu, and hopefully respond publicly by saying that there's some confidence that things will not ensue here. But at this moment, there's a lot up in the air. That White House official, though, really importantly telling me imminently President Trump will speak with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu.
Jake, let me follow up on that, because President Trump has been insisting that a deal is close at hand. How's the administration explaining what appears to be an escalation, or at least a return to hostilities on this 100th day of war?
Yeah, Reverend, I mean, look, quite frankly, they're struggling to explain it away. And that's because in one moment when we have Trump saying a deal is really close, and in the next moment we have Iran striking Israel in a surprise manner, that's tough to square that circle, Reverend. And so the folks that I'm talking to right now have just continued to say, give it a moment and let the president work it out. But for us that have been covering this for now 100 days, though this moment feels new and there is now new intense pressure over this because we have Iran striking Israel. What's not new is the president insinuating in some way, look, things are getting close, we are almost towards a peace deal, and then something happening that gets in the way. I will say, to highlight that interview that Trump had with Kristen Welker in D.C., one thing he noted was that when it comes to the enriched uranium, he said folks on both sides were essentially okay with where things stood. The president said that he himself did not like the idea of leaving any door open where in the future Iran could still contain and get back any of that enriched uranium. The president said there is no, 10 years down the line they have access to that enriched uranium. The only way he will sign a peace deal is if he can ensure they have no access to it going forward. And that's a massive sticking point because Iran does not capitulate to that and has not indicated in any way that they ultimately will, despite Trump saying sometimes that they're open to it. We've not heard that yet from the Iranian side. And so White House officials, to answer your question, are struggling to say that the president has an upper hand in this moment when hours after he says that, we see an attack like this that we just saw moments ago.
All right, Jake, listen to President Trump on Meet the Press today that you referred to.
If we make a deal, no, we're friendly, we'll all go together. It'll be our equipment. We'll take it out and destroy it, whether it's on site or whether we take it off site. And we will go with them or without them, but we won't have people shooting at us, okay? Now, if we don't make a deal, then we're going to take them out militarily, very harshly. And we'll wait till we do that before we go, in which case we'll have safety either way.
What do you think? What do you make of that, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, in theory, it sounds great. We have two options. One, cooperate with the United States, and two, as he's threatened many times, he didn't say this exactly this time, but he's said it many times. He's talked about wiping out an entire civilization. He's talked about, eradicating Iran kind of in its entirety. Those two paths forward, I guess, in theory makes sense, but the problem is the one that the president wants is a cooperation between the United States and Iran. He wants them to say, okay, you know what, U.S. troops can come in, pull out that enriched uranium, or the other option the president presented in that same lane is that Iran are the ones that extract the uranium themselves, but the White House and the U.S. have some way to, either through a camera or just observance, make sure that they're getting it out the way they say. The president can say that. The actuality of taking place is an entirely different thing, because this is something that since day one, Trump has said, we want to see all enriched uranium out of Iran's hands where they have no opportunity to pursue nuclear capabilities. And since day one, and reminder, we're still now on day 100, since day one, Iran has not capitulated to that request. And so what the president has not yet done, and he didn't do it in this interview too, Reverend, he did not yet say any way that Iran is coming around to the idea or is more likely to give up that enriched uranium when they've showed no path forward of that. It's always interesting the way that we hear readouts from meetings. We get it from the White House side and the U.S. side. We also get it from the Iranian side. Oftentimes we see a Truth Social post from Trump saying things were very successful, we're very close. And then on the Iranian side, we get an entirely different peace deal proposal that looks different and has different demands. So there's not anything evidently in front of us that says Iran is willing to negotiate on that really sticky subject that President Trump says he's not letting go of.
All right. Thank you, Jay Trailer at the White House. Now, joining us now is General Barry McCaffrey, MS Now military analyst and retired four-star general. General McCaffrey, when Iran fires ballistic missiles directly at northern Israel, even after a ceasefire, how dangerous is this moment militarily? And how close are we to a wider regional war?
Well, Reverend Sharp, my guess is that neither side wants to see this thing escalate to open combat. Certainly not the United States, because Trump wants out of this war for political reasons. It's economically devastating to the U.S. economy and the global economy. He wants out. The Iranians are being choked to death economically by the U.S. Navy's blockade of the Straits. No question. But their capacity to absorb pain is enormous compared to the United States. So I think the Iranians are just sticking in Mr. Trump's eye and poking him, trying to get him to agree to very loose controls on the highly enriched uranium. I think that's what's going on. At some point, the straits are going to be open, probably with some Iranian partial chokehold on it. But the whole question of the uranium is not just 1,000 pounds at 60% enrichment. It's also 10 tons of fissile material. It's an immense undertaking to try and recover it from underground. I don't think that's going to happen. And by the way, I think the other thing that deserves to be said is Mr. Trump's fundamental miscalculation was thinking that the devastating, brilliant air attack by the IDF in the United States that